بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. We have reached, with the grace of Allah Azza wa Jal, the last of the major fiqh rules, Al-Qa'ida Al Fiqhiyyah Al-Kubra, Al-'adatu muhakkama. Two words. And this translates to customs are binding. The customs of the people, the things that they're used to. This is al-'ada. It is muhakkama, meaning it's binding, that it has to be followed. And there are conditions, of course, we will come to, but this shows you the beauty of al-sharia, of Islam. Not every single thing is stated in the Quran or in the Sunnah, because Allah Azza wa Jal wants to give room to the people to practice what they usually practice, providing it does not go against the Quran and the Sunnah. So al-'ada muhakkama. The word 'ada, customs. But if you look in the Quran and the Sunnah, you will not find mentioning of al-'ada. So what is mentioned in the Quran? The word al-'urf or al-ma'ruf. And ma'ruf means something that is good, something that people accept. So anywhere in the world, when you tell them about stealing, they will tell you it is not ma'ruf, it is munkar, it is vice, it is evil. If you tell people about feeding others, they will tell you this is ma'ruf, it's doing charity and being kind, this is very acceptable. Even in the worst places in the world, they will accept this because it is part of human nature. Now, in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal says, خُذِ الْعَفْوَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Show forgiveness, enjoin what is good. وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ. And al-'urf is what the people know and accept to be the norm. And it also can be what is good and what is virtuous. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَعَلَى الْمَوْلُودِ لَهُ رِزْقُهُنَّ وَكِسْوَتُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Now, if someone is blessed with a child, who's responsible in providing for the mother or the one who's breastfeeding? Who's responsible for clothing the child? It is the one who was this child born to, meaning the father. But what is the amount that should be given? 1 rupee, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000. Allah says, bil ma'ruf. Meaning this goes to the customs of the people. And we will come to discuss this, insha'Allah. Hind bint Utbah, the wife of Abu Sufyan. She came, may Allah be pleased with her and with him, to the Prophet ﷺ, and she said, Abu Sufyan is a little bit tight on spending. So can I take what is sufficient for me and my children? The Prophet said, ﷺ, take whatever is sufficient for you and your children, bil ma'ruf, in accordance to the customs. Meaning, don't take everything and buy a Bentley. This is not ma'ruf. And at the same time, don't take 1 or 2 cents. This is not sufficient. So how can I determine? You have to see your level, your social status. You take whatever is sufficient in this. So custom is controlled by 2 things. One, it has to be coinciding with the Sharia. So if someone says that we have a custom, for example, and this custom goes against Sharia, is it applicable? No, definitely not, because the Quran and the Sunnah come in the first place. So if someone tells us, in my country, when I propose to a girl before the marriage contract, we're engaged. So we go out to the movies, we have dinner, I treat her as if she's my wife. I visit her in the home, she goes out with me. This is our customs, as in many countries, unfortunately. Now, is this custom binding? No, because it goes against Islam. Then where do we use this customs? One, in things that have no ruling from the Quran and from the Sunnah. For example, I get someone to fix something in the house. We don't agree on his fare. After he finishes, he says, I want 100. And I said, no, you deserve only 10. What does the Quran and Sunnah say? Nothing. But the customs of the people who are specialized in his field of profession say that the amount of work he did in your home requires 70. So not 100 and not a 10. So I am obliged, it's binding on me to give him 70, because this is the custom. So this is where we use the customs, generally speaking. Secondly, we use it in defining what the Arabic language or the Islamic rulings did not specify. So when Allah tells us that if you break your oath, what is the expiation? Free a slave or feed 10 poor people from the middle of what you eat, or clothe them. Now, feeding 10 people from the middle of what you eat, how can I measure this? One says, I'll give him a small sandwich of shawarma. This is enough. This is not from the middle of what we eat. One says, no, I have to give a sheep for each person. This is too much. So whatever we consider to be acceptable, a plate, full plate of rice with some curry, with some chicken or with some meat, it's a good full meal. This is acceptable because this is the customs around us. Now, customs is part to do with what you say. For example, if someone wants to divorce his wife, what does he say? Anti taliq. In Arabic, in English, you're divorced. So this is a custom. No, this is the shara. This is the religion. But if someone says that we use a different word in my society, if I tell my wife, go to your father's house in times of anger, and I intend this to be divorce, and the community, all of them, they agree, yes. Whenever a husband says to his wife, go to your father's house, this is a divorce. Does this become a divorce? It becomes a divorce, because it is the customs. In the Quran, al-walad refers to both male and female offspring. يوصيكم الله في أولادكم للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. أولادكم refers to both boys and girls. But if the custom in a country that walad is only to refer to the male, to the son, then so be it. So it depends on what you say, what's the custom in the country. And also customs of something that is practical. So we know that if I buy something from a shop, the customs in the country or in the city, that he has to carry it and deliver it. This is the norm. So in this case, if I buy something from the furniture shop, then his job is to transport it and to put it in my car or to bring it to my house. So after I pay the money and I buy it, he does not have the right to say, no, I need extra money to transport it and to take it. This is not his right, because the customs are binding, and to him, this is the custom of the country. Now, if we go on to what is related to the rhetoric, some people claim when his case gets to court, the wife says, he divorced me, and the man says, no, 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 I did not divorce her. I had an agreement with her. If I tell you you're divorced, this means that you have to stand up. And this is our custom. so it's not a divorce, Sheikh. Do we listen to him or not? No, because he used the terminology mentioned in the Quran of separation. So when he said, you're divorced, the divorce immediately takes place. Likewise, depending on the environment, the country, the city, what people are accustomed to. If someone says, by Allah, I will not sit under a ceiling. I will not go under your ceiling. Now, ceiling in the Quran, the word saqf, refers to the sky, as-sama'. Allah Azza wa Jal says, وَجَعَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ سَقْفًا مَحْفُوظًا. So does this mean that I will not sit under the sky? No, because though this is linguistically acceptable, the customs is referring to something else. If someone says, I will not sleep on a bed, and Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned to us that a bed in the Quran is the earth. This is not intended. The customs, all of us, when we say the word bed, the first thing that comes to mind is the normal bed. So this means that the customs depends on not only the linguistic part, but what the people all agree to take. So how can we tell if this is part of the customs or not? They say that there are a number of conditions. One, first of all, the custom has to be widely spread. So every one of us know that this is a custom. The issue of you're divorced, meaning stand up. Is it widely spread? Then this is not good and it's not taken as customs. It has to be widely accepted and spread among the people. Before going to two, we have a short break. So stay tuned and inshallah we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm your brother Yusuf Idris, and I hope that you're enjoying watching Peace TV.
The uniqueness about Islam is that it practically demonstrates the universal brotherhood. Irrespective whether you're rich or poor, whether a male or female, whether black or white, whichever caste, color, creed you belong to, all of them are equal because you are created by one and only sole creator, which is preached by all the religions. For the universal brotherhood to prevail, it's compulsory that you believe and worship only one Almighty God.
Dr. Zakir Naik speaks on universal brotherhood in Truth Exposed, next on Peace TV.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Condition number two, so that the customs would be applied, is that it would be applicable at the time that we are talking about. If I tell you I have £1,000 as a loan to Saad. Now, when did I get the loan? If it is in recent times, then everybody knows that it's £1,000 of this particular country, let's say Egypt or England. But if I said that this loan was 100 years ago, providing him and I were alive then, this reference to the banknote we have, the paper, is not acceptable. Because 70 years ago or 80 years ago, they did not use these banknotes. So the custom has to be matching to the time it was said or it was done in. So you have to know what exactly the time and the place. Because every custom differs. 80 years ago, in Saudi Arabia, we had silver riyals. Now we have paper riyals, different in value, different in shape. Thirdly, it has to not go against what is stated. What does that mean? Usually, when there is a custom, it is well known. But if there comes a statement that limits this custom, then we have to abide by it. For example, if you rent a car, you have the right to put your luggage in it. This is the customs. But if it was stated in the contract that you must not carry anything over 50 kgs. Now, this is against the custom. But because it's the contract, it becomes binding. So you have no right to say, Ya akhi, but the customs that we all know that I can take cargo in it, I can take luggage in it. He said, yes, this is the customs, but it goes against a clause which you agree upon. And finally, which is usual, that it must not go against evidence from the Quran or Sunnah. If I go to Europe, for example, and the Muslims there, they have this tradition that if you win in a race car, Formula One or a rally or whatever, the winners, what do they do to them? What do? They open bottles of champagne and they put it on all the winners, first, second, and the third. Now, this is the customs. And this has been going on for years. Do we say that, okay, because it's the customs, khalas, I won the Formula One, so yeah, inshallah, no problem. No, this goes against Quran and the Sunnah. Immediately the custom is abolished and abandoned. This is not permissible. Now, we have a number of sub-rules that fall under this. Some make it to 10, some make it to more, but it all revolves around the same thing. So we'll take one or two, and then, inshallah, just before the conclusion of this segment, we will take your questions, if any. First of all, استعمال الناس حجة يجب العمل بها. The people's usage is an authority that must be acted upon. استعمال الناس حجة يجب العمل بها. The people's usage is an authority that must be acted upon. This means that whatever the people use, it's an authority, as long as they agree as the custom. For example, if someone, his job is to look for real estate, for property. In my country, in Saudi Arabia, someone who does this gets a commission of 2.5%. And it's a difficult job because you want to buy a property, a building, a flat. And I keep on looking and I give you choices, 6, 7, 10, 20. This may take a month or two. And this might take a day. But it is well known. So now I like this piece of land. The buyer comes and they sign the contract and they pay $1 million for the property. Now, where's my commission? The buyer says, what commission? And the seller says, what commission? After all this work, what is the custom? What is the usage of people, which is an authority? The usage, anyone you ask, you have to give 2.5%. So it becomes binding. They must give that man 2.5% because this is how it's used and people apply it. 2. الحقيقة تترك بدلالة العادة. This is sub-rule number 2. الحقيقة تترك بدلالة العادة. The reality is dismissed in light of the customs. Now, what is the reality? What is the dismissal of it? And what is the customs? Well, if what sounds real is against the customs, then this reality, we have to abolish it and we have to dismiss it. Example, Wallahi, I will not set foot in your house after today. This is an oath. After 10 minutes, they told me, Wallahi, his wife is cooking a very delicious meal you love. What to do? I don't want to break my promise, my oath. I don't want to give expiation. I have an idea. 2 of my friends will carry the chair I sit on, and they will get me in the house, and I will not put my feet on the floor. I'll eat and leave. Is this permissible? No. Why? Because the reality, which is I will not set foot, this is not intended. What was intended in the custom is, the phrase means anyone. If you tell anyone, he will tell you, no, he meant that he will not enter the house. So you enter it whether by being carried or walking on your hands like a gymnast. You enter the house walking on your hands upside down. Again, it's the same meaning, and this is what the custom says. Likewise, if someone says, Wallahi, I will not eat eggs, and they bring him pigeon eggs or an ostrich egg, can he eat? What is the reality? That this is all an egg. What is the custom? What egg does he mean? Chicken. So any kind of egg would do, because the custom is that whenever you say I will not eat eggs, meaning the normal eggs, not something that is not normal. Unlike I will not set foot, this was not intended. What was intended is that he would not enter the house. This is understood when someone says this and he's on a wheelchair. I will not set foot in your house, meaning that he will not enter. He didn't mean it literally. And it goes on and on. I think we should stop here and see if you have any questions. Yes, Saad.
Sheikh, that point of al-aada muhakkama, sometimes customs, they are associated with religious acts. For example, an act like Eid. In India, we have a system of Eid, that is giving money. The elders give it to the younger lot. And similarly, we have many customs related with marriage and after marriage. So, are these customs allowed to be associated with religious acts?
We have stated before that such customs have to be looked at individually. In Eid, the general concept is, as all jurors agree, that you have to be cheerful and to spread happiness in the whole family. And what spreads happiness more than money? Definitely, nothing. So there is no problem at all, and this is a custom that we all do in Arabia, but unfortunately we have reversed it. The bigger Eid is the Eid of the meat. We don't give a single dime. In Ramadan's Eid is the Eid that we give money and we give gifts, but this is no problem with that. When it comes to marriage, we have to look into the customs. If they are Islamic customs, where the woman puts henna and decorates herself, where the man wears a special suit, these are customs. They have nothing to do with halal or haram, unless they are imitating the non-Muslims. In this case, it falls under the hadith of Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with the man, with his father, وَمَنْ تَشَبَّهَ بِقَوْمٍ فَهُوَ مِنْهُمْ. And whoever imitates a people, then he is part of them. So I hope this answers your question.
Sheikh, what if some custom, it's not like related to anything, or there's nothing of shirk in it, but if that custom is risky? Like, let me give you an example. In Kuwait, they have this annual custom of, like, they go pearl diving without oxygen. Now, that is a risky. So, is that permitted or not?
Okay, now, you're asking, if I understood the question correctly, they have a custom or a sport that is risky. So, is this permissible? This has nothing to do with customs. So, if you go every week and do diving without oxygen, or you do racing, which is dangerous, or you jump with parachutes, or what they call it, bungee jumping. If you do all of this, now some scholars say that this is permissible. I personally believe that it is not permissible, because it is throwing yourself in harm's way without any justification, except in the case of parachute jumping. So for people in the military, they are entitled to do this due to its relation to jihad and to protecting the country, etc. But for people, normal people who do this, and they say it's safe, 1 in 1,000 people die. Would you like to be that number? Definitely not. And there is no reason for it except the rush of adrenaline. I see that it is not permissible, and it's not part of the customs that one would make it binding. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.